Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're doing a special video discussing the Gamescom event that has happened this week. Basically, we're just going to give you a quick recap of the games that they showed at the various events, our thoughts on the games that we liked, things that we didn't like, and that's pretty much it. And if you agree or disagree. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. So they started off Gamescom, or I guess the day before Gamescom, Nintendo had their own Indie Direct, what they called Indie World. And they showcase a lot of the independent developed games that will be coming out to Nintendo Switch. Followed later in the day, they had an Xbox event inside Xbox. They also had a Google Stadia, what they call Stadia Connect. And then they finished it off with the opening night live Gamescom 2-hour show where Jeff Keighley, the host of the Game Awards, came out and just showcased again a bunch of games that will be at Gamescom, some new world premieres and some stuff like that. So jumping first into Nintendo, let me just run through the checklist of games that they showcased, and then we'll discuss any specific ones we'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
So we've got Risk of Rain 2, and again, these are not in any specific order, just listing the games out. We have Risk of Rain 2, we have Eastward from Chucklefish Games, we have Freedom Finger, we have Roki, Torchlight 2, Skater XL, Europa, Super Hot, Dungeon Defenders Awakened, The Tourist, Skellboy, Earth Knight, Hotline Miami Collection. We have Blasphemous, Close to the Sun, Cat Quest 2, Spiritfarer, Shrine 4, Creature in the Well, One Finger Death Punch 2, Best Friend Forever, Fogs, What the Golf, Kine, Hypercharge, Northgard, Sparklight, Munchkin Quack Quest, and last but not least, a nice surprise, Ori and the Blind Forest is officially coming to Switch. So let's just start with that last one and then work our way back.
Sounds good.
So I think on our E3 predictions, I predicted that Ori was coming to Switch and they would announce it. And while it didn't happen at E3, obviously my prediction came through. It came true. I think it was a given. I mean, of all the games that Microsoft had potential of coming, Cuphead being one of them and Ori being another one, it's a perfect platform for Switch. It's a great game, beautiful game. I loved it on Xbox, and I would definitely be down to play it again on Switch.
Yeah, I think they're holding out for something to announce on the European E3. I think it's perfectly made for the Switch. The graphics will be good. Taking it on the road to play, it's such a fun game. You know, you might not want to put it down, so you can bring it with you. So I think it's a match made in heaven for that, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think this opens the door for the sequel, Ori Will of the Wisps, which comes out to Xbox, I believe it's March of next year. That's exclusive to Xbox, but I wouldn't be surprised if it also then comes to Nintendo Switch within a week or whatever after, just because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
At this point. Microsoft's partnership is growing with Nintendo. There's rumors about Xbox Live integration. We have Cuphead, we now have Ori. We know that Battletoads is coming for Xbox. I wouldn't be surprised if that makes its way to the Switch. So I think the future is bright, and I think that there's going to be once I think Xbox Scarlet launches next year, I think there'll be some surprises at that point. Nintendo comes out with a Switch Pro. I think we could see some integration or some connectivity with Xbox Live or something special going on there. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, I'll mention this now. It was officially announced and confirmed that some games are now officially going cross-platform between PlayStation and Xbox consoles. PUBG, the big game, is actually one of the ones they announced, is officially going to be real cross-platform between PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And you can choose, you know what, PC players don't have to play with console players don't have to choose to play with PC because of the advantages they get. Yeah. But you can play, it's true cross-platform, and I believe the plan is going forward, it's going to be cross-save, and so you buy the game, you play it on this console, go to this one, your save moves with you.
That's right, yeah. All your characters, your weapons, or anything that may be, your items, all come with you no matter what platform you're playing with, which is smart, right? Because sometimes people, depending on what room's available or who's in their house or whatnot, sometimes it's only the PC, sometimes it's your console. So it's a nice variety that people have now.
Absolutely. So a few games that I wanted to discuss. Eastward was made by Chucklefish Games. They are the creators of Stardew Valley, a game that I really enjoyed. Great farm sim, Harvest Moon, similar style game with a lot of other elements to it. There's, you can get married, have a kid, you can go a dungeon, spelunking, mining, whatever you want to do, fishing. You literally pick the path you want to go, and there's so many things to do and discover in that game. It's great. Yeah. Love the purchase on Switch. And so that same style, the same graphical art style is now they're coming back and they're actually doing an action adventure game. So it's with story and stuff. It looks great. So it's something that I'm definitely interested in taking a shot.
Yeah, it looks like a good mix of a gameplay story and then the Sims kind of background to
it. It reminds me of the SNES kind of old school, right?
Yeah.
It's clearly better than 16-bit graphics, but it just gives me that feel of like I remember playing Harvest Moon. I remember playing some of these old school action games on the Nintendo, and I'm like, it brings me back to that time.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. What else we got here? What else looked good? Skater XL looked pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Tony Hawk's.
Tony Hawk's not in this one, but I think, the last Tony Hawk's didn't do well. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
And this one seems to be that they're trying to get the board control as the main feature, be more realistic, gravity. So it looked really good. It looked like you're going to have full control on what you can do. Every trick is different, which is unique and something nice. You're not always going to land it. You got to actually, it seems like you have to, craft your skill and get better and better and keep practicing for this game, which is kind of realistic to what you have to do to skateboard. So
more a skateboarding sim while still keeping some of that arcade style, the fun of Tony Hawk's.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like anyway.
Yeah, and it looked like good graphics for a skateboard game, and
on the Switch, no less.
Yeah. So it looked very appealing, especially for the younger generation that might be into skateboarding still, and it's up.
Absolutely. So Super Hot's finally coming to the Switch. This has been on every platform. It's on VR now, so it makes sense. It's going to make its way to the Switch, especially with a mobile unit. You can now move it. It's not really VR, but it's like augmented reality where you're kind of moving and dodging. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The Tourist. So I really like this one. Again, a unique art style. It reminds me of Crossy Road on your cell phone. Very pixel boxy cube-like style. But it has an interesting hook for me. So you're visiting different islands, very colorful, very bright. And then there are these puzzles, these mystery dungeons, if you will, that are on each island that you got to go in, solve the puzzles, and find out what it's about, how they're connected, what's kind of going on. So kind of a mystery. Each island's a different puzzle. At the same time, there are other things to do. I was watching some gameplay today, and there's, you're tasked with figuring out what's going on the island, and then because you are a tourist, you can go lie down on the beach, you can do your touristy things.
Yeah.
But then eventually you end up getting a camera. You can take photographs of special monuments and sell them for money, which you can then buy other items or upgrades for your character to jump higher and do different things. So it's kind of my style. I like Zelda puzzle action adventure kind of thing, and it kind of gives me that vibe. While it's being definitely a lot less combat focused, obviously, but it does pique my interest.
I think this game's actually going to be a big one for kids. It's got that Minecraft feel.
Yes.
It's also got that little Wreck-It Ralph kind of 8-bit figures in there, but it has the puzzles, which will be good for the parents too, because you can sell this as a mind game, mind training, puzzles, practicing different skills, but still make it entertaining. So I think for the kids, they'll think it's like Minecraft, it's a game, I can have fun. But for a parent as well, it's like, maybe not educational, but building the mind, getting stronger, getting used to problem solving and puzzles and stuff like that. So I predict that this might be a big game for both sides.
I think so. I agree. We saw Earth Knight, which was that dragon. Interesting. It gave us a Sonic vibe. So we'll put the trailer up. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it on YouTube, Earth Knight. But basically, it's got this beautiful, I don't want to say cel-shaded art style. It's definitely has a beautiful palette. It's unique from that perspective. But it switches from like a 2D racing platformer, like a Sonic kind of thing, to like bird's eye view. And there's twisty turns. There's like platforming. There's like timing, and then it's got a roguelike element where you die, you respawn as a new character, and you kind of keep going and you try to get further and stuff. So it looked very intriguing. I've never been a fan of Sonic games. I find that especially on the original like Sega, it went so fast I could never see the enemies coming up. I always get hit. I preferred Mario. But I don't know. It intrigues me. I kind of feel like I want to give it a go just to see how it plays. The art style has really drawn me in, and just the different shifts and views and stuff, it kind of made me want to give it a shot.
I think it's funny, the two games that you mentioned was Sonic and Mario.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw the trailer, I thought it was a mix between Mario and Sonic, with the bouncing on, instead of the turtles, you're bouncing on these different dragons or creatures, and then you have that quick Sonic, non-stop, fast-paced kind of platform play base. So those were the two that I thought of as soon as I saw the trailer. So I thought it was funny you mentioned those two names.
Yep, we got the Hotline Miami collection. So I played the original one on, I want to say 3DS is where I got it, the first one. I don't think it was on the Wii U. I think it was 3DS, and I liked it. It was quick, interesting for an action game. It was very puzzle action game where you got to decide each room how you're going to approach it and how you're going to take out the enemy. So it's very fun. Now they're finally on Switch. It's a perfect fit. There's not much to say there. Have you played Hotline Miami?
I haven't. No.
Okay. Let's go down here. Boom, 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 boom. Cat Quest 2. So I just got Cat Quest 2 days ago. I've been debating on doing a review. I might actually end up doing it, so I'm not going to give you too much thoughts other than I enjoyed it. I finished it in a couple of days. It was on sale. It was like $5. Really enjoyed it. Thought the team did a great job, and they announced Cat Quest 2. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm so excited to get back in there and go on another adventure. So, yeah, gay for them. I'm excited for that one. Not much more to say about that. But
perfect timing, though.
Absolutely. Spiritfarer, we saw this one at E3. Not much more news about it, but interesting. Let's get down here. No. And then Sparklight, I was interested in. It kind of gives me a Zelda Link to the Past Super Nintendo vibe. Obviously, it's got a pixely look to it. Well, it's not pixelated. It's, again, a different art style. It's definitely drawing on its retro roots, but it's definitely updated and more for this age. Like, that's the best I can describe it. But it gives me a Zelda feel where you're going in, you're crafting weapons and items to help you get through the world. You're exploring. There are some dungeons and bosses and stuff like that. So it gives me that feel of Zelda. There's certain parts of the map that look like it was from Link to the Past, but then again, a lot of it is very unique. It's not definitely not copying. So I'm interested in that just because I'm a Zelda fan. Was there any games on the Nintendo list that you were interested in or anything you wanted to discuss?
No, we went over everything I was interested in, but I did like the format that they did. I mean, you read off all the names. Yeah. They did a lot of games, but they did it quickly and, to the point. And Nintendo seems to be hitting it on the nail on the head the last few videos we've seen of getting, straight to the point, getting it out there, showing what they need to show, and then moving on. So
absolutely.
It was nice to see that.
So they had the Google Stadia Connect event. There wasn't much for us to say other than, I think it was like 20 minutes or half an hour. It wasn't a long video. Pretty quick. Yeah. They went over, it's coming. The Founders Edition has sold out in some countries. Buy it now if you haven't already bought it.
I think it's $130, and it includes
3
months pass for two people.
For two people. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
And a controller, and then the Chrome or
and Chromecast. Yes, and then the Destiny game.
Yeah. With all the expansions.
So you can get that right away. And then the standard edition or the free version comes out next year in March, I believe it is. So so they showed only two games that were exclusive. Guilt, which is a Stadia exclusive, and Orcs Must Die 3. Other than that, it was a rehashing of games that are coming out for the PlayStation and the Xbox, like Cyberpunk, Borderlands 3, a lot of the big games, shooters and that kind of thing that's going on right now, that's going to be on there.
Yeah.
So we know that. So good for them. Do you think that it's going to work as advertised? Do you think it's going to be, almost lag free? And do you think it'll be a console experience?
I think it will succeed if they can get the console experience without the loading.
They did guarantee there's no updates, no loading, because everything's on the servers. Yeah. And I believe that that's possible because the company I work for and the things that we sell, I know that is definitely doable, very easy to do.
Yeah.
My issue is that because literally it's just the whole game is located on their servers and they're just sending you the image. It's running on their servers locally. The updates, everything is happening there. It's using their RAM, their CPUs, and all they're doing is they're sending, think of it, a super long wireless HDMI cable to your TV. So you're just seeing the image that's already running somewhere there. My issue, though, is because the controller is where you are, and that controller is connecting directly to their servers. If you're using theirs, if you're using your own, it's connecting to the.
Is there going to be any lag or?
They're saying it's very minimal, if anything. But I have to try it to see if it's going to be a console experience. I think there's going to be. For games like they're showing, like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, where you want to have like fast frames, I don't know if it's going to work, but they're claiming, they've run it, it's going to work. I don't know.
If they can run it seamlessly, they're going to, just run away with it. Because you can literally play this on your phone, on your TV,
Yes.
on your laptop, on any platform that you want. You can pick up your game, you can pause it, and go to another room and play it on another TV or your phone or whatnot.
Yep.
I mean, this could be the future of gameplay if they can, get all and no lag, connectivity, no issues, stuff like that. I think they'll be fine. But it's just the question mark is that will there be any issues with the network?
Absolutely. And I think the idea of that is great. I mean, if you're traveling, a lot of people
You
take
don't
their
have to bring
Switch,
anything,
but you
really.
have to worry about, I lose my Switch. Is it going to get stolen? All you have is a controller, because unless they have your login, your username and password, they're not accessing your games, they're not stealing your stuff. You don't have to rebuy hardware other than the controller if you were to misplace that.
Yeah.
But it works with any controller. Your PlayStation, your Xbox, they're all supported.
So
You can grab any controller that you already have, throw in your bag, very, very easy to carry. And wherever you go, as long as you've got an internet connection and your Chromecast, which is very small, you can play. So I like that aspect of it. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be as great as they say it is.
For developers that, their games are speed, especially Mortal Kombat, like you said, even that developer
First-person
said,
shooters.
we're going there because we tested it and it's fast. But did they test it by themselves so no one else is using the servers? What will it be when it's real time, when everyone's lagging it? And do they have the capacity to keep up with the numbers that could be there?
If you're playing Crucible and Destiny, you want that.
Yeah.
You can't have lag. You can have it. One person shoots you and you're like, okay, I got him. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like,
you start shooting, all of a sudden he's over. You're just like, what happened there?
And they're advertising crossplay. And if it's going to be crossplay with consoles and they have no lag and you do, that's a big disadvantage. So
definitely.
let's see what happens.
I'm hoping, but we'll find out.
Yeah, you didn't pre-order it.
I did not.
No, I did not. Well, wait and see. I'll try the free version and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, then Xbox did their own. I think it was like a 2-hour thing, hour and a half. Inside Xbox.
Was it Monday night? I think they did that.
It was the same day. Yeah. Right before the Gamescom opening night live stream. So there isn't much to say about Xbox. They focus a lot on Gears 5, which it's coming out in a few weeks, so it makes sense.
Begins September 6th, I think, for early access, and then the 10th, I think, is regular access. I could be wrong, but I believe those are the dates for that.
Yeah, I believe that was a 4-day.
Yeah.
And then you have, they showcase some of the other games that we've seen in E3. They talked about Destiny. They talked about Gears Pop. They talked about a whole bunch of games that were there. I think did they touch base on Cyberpunk again? I can't remember. A lot of the stuff was just stuff that we've seen.
A lot of it was just recycled.
There was no new announcements, right?
No.
Other than the Gear stuff, everything was stuff we already knew for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So, more Xbox, a couple talks about Scarlet coming out next year. Great. Phil Spencer on a separate article had specified that they're standardizing on one model, that there's not going to be a all streaming version like box with no hard drive and then another unit. It's one unit. And what he meant by the future is being, streaming is the ability that you can stream Xbox games to you can play it on your PC, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on your Xbox. You will be able to stream to multiple devices, but your Xbox Scarlet will essentially be one SKU. At least that's what he made it sound like to me. It will be one standard unit for the new Xbox. So that's good to know. It's very easy to make up your mind what you're going to buy if you're into the next gen stuff.
Yep.
And then we'll move on. So then we had the opening night live, which was with Jeff Keighley, the host of the Game Awards. He went and decided was given the right to host his opening, where they did have a few world premieres. So I'm just going to run through the list. If I missed anything, I apologize. Again, not in any specific order, but just quickly, and then we'll discuss any games in detail. So they did talk a lot more about Destiny 2 Shadowkeep DLC. They talked about Borderlands 3. They talked about Little Nightmares 2. Broken Porcelain, another horror-style game. Everspace 2. Ancestors, the Humankind story. I think this is the one with the monkey or whatever, and you're kind of open world or something like that. Gears 5. Kerbal Space Program 2. Disintegration. FIFA 20. Erica, which was a nice surprise shadow drop. I'm going to talk more about that in a bit. Predator Hunting Grounds, we got to see gameplay. Anno 1800 DLC. I never even heard of Anno before, but it's basically like a giant Sim City, but it takes place over I guess a different era, like an old school era.
Yeah, it looked different.
Port Royale 4, which I thought that game actually was the Skull and Bones that Ubisoft was working on. I thought it just had this pirate theme and then the bottle of rum, and I'm like, oh, this is Skull and Bones. We're gonna get more information on it, and then it was Port Royale 4. I'm like, okay, so I think it's a strategy game or something. I haven't played it, so I don't know. Iron Harvest 1920, basically an old World War I style looking game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they talked about that.
Yeah.
We have Need for Speed Heat, Comanche, bringing THQ Nordic is bringing back Comanche, the helicopter game, and another drone game as well.
Yeah.
The Cycle, some new PvEVP game. Again, a new style, a new way of doing first-person shooting.
Yeah.
And then Humankind, a new Sega project that was collaborated with Harmonix? No, it wasn't Harmonix. I can't remember the name now. But basically, it was a trailer of like a caveman playing music in space, and then it turned out to look literally like a Civilization 4 game. Like it looked like a clone of Civilization. It's the best that I could say what it was.
Yeah.
The trailer didn't really show much about it, so that was interesting. And then we ended with a huge look on Death Stranding. They showed off 2 key features. Obviously, Kojima came, and it was a big thing of the night. And then they showed a little bit of gameplay of kind of what you'd be doing and a little bit of what it's about. So we kind of got a little bit more understanding about that game while we're still confused at the same time. So let's start there, I guess. We ended on Death Stranding. Let's start on Death Stranding and we'll work our way back.
Yep.
So Death Stranding, thoughts on that game overall?
A lot of people love that you could see or try and see the peeing.
Norman Reedus?
Yeah. So they got a lot of cheers for that. I think that's a funny feature that they wanted to show in the trailer. But it's interesting to see the type of equipment you have.
Mm-hmm.
They showed a bit of the gameplay, but you still don't 100% know.
You don't know what combat's going to be like.
Yeah.
You know that there's some stealth. We know from the earlier trailers that there's some stealth portions. We know that there's walking around and exploring with the ladder. They showcase the ladder and finding, I guess, outposts and stuff. But like, why you're doing it, the purpose of you're doing it, obviously hasn't been explained. And then it's Kojima. There's a lot of weird stuff happening, stuff that is just like, what are you thinking? But that's the brilliant mind of Kojima.
In his mind would be
a scary place.
Yeah, it might be like Erica. But I like that you have full control. Like even when he was going down the hill, you had to push the buttons to make sure that you had control. If you weren't paying attention, you would fall down a cliff and so on and so forth.
What about the whole like baby like the six? You have to shake the 6-axis controller.
Yeah, like
I mean that could get annoying. That could get annoying
if
it happens throughout the game. I wouldn't be happy about that unless it's like get this upgrade and it auto soothes the baby. Okay, then we'll be okay.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It just brings me back to. There was another game I played when I was younger with babies crying or something like that. Yoshi's Island for Super Nintendo, where it's Baby Mario, and every time he got hit and he fell off your back and he was crying, and I remember my mom would be like, "What's that noise? Turn it off!" So yeah, that brings back memories of that. If that happens a lot through the game, it's gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
But are you interested in that game at all at this point?
It hasn't. It hasn't caught my interest yet. I think it's because I don't 100% know what the point of it is.
What the hook is.
Yeah.
If you're just walking around finding outposts and dodging ghosts or whatever, is it really your thing?
I would lose interest if it was that.
I'm sure there's a lot more to it. But again, he says he's going to blow it up Tokyo Game Show, which is in a few weeks. I think it's in September. I say a few weeks. I think it's in September. And so he's going to blow it like a huge gameplay opening. So at that point, we should know exactly what we're getting into. Yeah. Okay, so from that... why don't you kick it off? What kind of games you want to discuss from that show?
So Destiny 2.
Yes, Destiny
2. They showed a lot more into it. The new super moves, finishing moves.
Interesting. They said something about no cooldowns. It just happens when the enemy is almost dead or something. You can just activate it.
Yeah. So they're like Bungie's really trying to
differentiate it.
Yeah, because they've recently separated from Activision, and I think.
And if you haven't seen the video, we posted that out just this week. So take a look at that.
So now I think this is their chance to prove that they're okay being by themselves. This is how they really want the game. They're going to make the changes that they wanted to make. Supposedly there's no real power level for some activities, so you could be as big as you want, 9,000 power level. So there's still some information coming out, but if you look closely in some of the trailers, you can see some new weapons, some new exotic items, armor, all that stuff. So it's nice. I like to slow down those kind of trailers that I'm really interested in and say, oh, this gun's coming back, or what's this one and what's this move kind of thing. That rocket launcher that kind of looked like a Nova bomb feature to it when it exploded. So
I've been out of Destiny since the first one. So I played the original Destiny, and then after the first DLC I kind of dropped off.
Yep, a lot of people did.
Destiny 2, I haven't stepped foot in it. Now there have obviously been a lot of changes, a lot of reworks, a lot of with before and after DLC.
Yeah.
Now they mentioned these ultimates. They said each. So they talked about Hunter,
Warlock,
and Titan, right?
Yeah.
I played a Hunter, that's why I don't know the other ones. But they talked about the ultimates, and they said, does each class get one? And they said there will be a special ultimate for each class. So you will get all three, whether you're a Hunter, Titan, or... So I was like, does Hunter have 3 classes now?
Yeah, so there's
like 3
each element. So
remember there might be 3 options for like, do you want to have like Ninja Star and your ultimate was like a knife stab, or did you want to go? There's a couple of 2 ability changes, but for the most part,
it's like
the same
arc
character.
and
but it was still the same class. Like it was still like your DPS versus tank versus magic or mage for the most part. Now it seems like they've kind of split it down where like you can still be a tank as a Hunter now. Or does that make sense or no?
I don't believe so. I think they might be including 3 new moves for each. Either arc or I'm losing now. There's arc
specialties.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah. So they have the 3, the fire and the but for the 3 different classes, I think you have 3 different special moves.
Okay.
So for like a Titan, you have the hammers, you have this, big axe that kind of swirls some fire, and then, you have different finishing moves for each class.
Okay.
So it works out that way. I could be wrong, but that's what I was kind of getting from that. So each class will have 3 different divisions of it, I believe. And
then they said something about Destiny Light or Light version or something light, where it was like, it's coming in August. Excuse me, not August. It's coming later on this year. I think it was October, and that's the best time for you to jump in because like everything's unlocked right away. So you don't have to like get to this level or this gate before you can get into Crucible. Or everything will just be unlocked if you get that version or that.
Yeah. So I know Shadowkeep comes October 1st. They pushed it back, and that you don't have to have played Destiny 1 or 2 or anything like that to have that. It's kind of like a separate kind of area that you can play, so you don't have to own the others to unlock that.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
I think they're going to announce a little bit more, but it's getting close to the release date, so it's I think 40 days away or something like that.
Yeah, and September's packed. I mean, usually September, October, November is when all the big Call of Duty and all the big games come out.
Yeah,
first-person shooters especially, but a lot of the AAA games come out the fall part of the year to gear up for Christmas and sales at that point in time. So yeah, there's a lot coming out in September and October. That being one of them.
Yeah. So originally it was supposed to be September, but they needed a little bit more time, I guess, to polish it, which I'm completely fine with. Because in the past, Destiny was always released on the date, whether they were ready or not, and then they tried to catch up to patch it, and that's what essentially they lost a bunch of players because of that. Because it came out unfinished. You're paying for full price for a game that's unfinished essentially, and then they're trying to patch it as you go, which is really frustrating.
And you might lose gear, or you find an exploit and you lose what you did, or you try to get
So it's very frustrating for players to be like, why am I paying for this game when it's not even complete from the publisher?
You don't think there was any sort of thought behind moving it because Gears comes out in September? Gears has been a while since we had Gears, right?
It could be, but they kept claiming that it was to make sure it was right for them. And I think for them, this being their first release after the separation, they want to make sure everything's as perfect as they can make it.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, so what else?
And then they got into Gears 5.
Okay, yeah.
So they showed the different, so they showed the Horde, where they actually have finishing moves now for this game mode. So each player has a finishing. One goes invisible. Another one has airstrike, I believe, that they can do. And then
that's right. There's the one guy like shoots through walls. And then they had
the Jack. I think.
Yeah,
hijack. So you can play as him as well, and
supposedly it's supposed to be easier for like people who haven't played Gears.
That's right, yeah.
Or isn't good at Gears and kind of go in there and kind of be.
Yeah, so the people that can't really duck behind and like duck and shoot and then get back into cover, hijack's the one that you want to play to get into it.
You can like heal people, you can repair things, you can like take over enemies or something and like control them and stuff.
That's the special. You can hijack the player and actually play as the different creatures.
So it's great, especially if you have like a young one who wants to join in with you. It's like, okay, you know what? This is what you can do. You can help us out. You can still go crazy, but we can still do our thing and
exactly, yeah. And then they have the story mode that you can play co-op, split screen, in the same living room, or you
Nice.
can play online.
Mhm.
And then Hijack is a third person on that, so he can be included as well. So if you
Nice.
want your young one to play in the story mode, they can also do that, or someone
Oh,
who's not
nice.
used to doing that as well. So he can either be the second player or the third player of the group. So that will be nice as well. And then they announced that they're including a Halo
Yeah, I heard that.
and
Halo
Gears
Reach.
collaboration, because Terminator wasn't enough.
That's right,
They
because
want
Sarah
Sarah
Connor.
Connor's
Yeah.
T1000 is one of the crossovers in there as well. So now they're doing the Halo one as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about Gears 5. They say it's going to be one of the best ones that they've done. It's going to tell a bit of the story of, I guess, 4, where it's 3 strangers kind of in the woods and finding these creatures or whatnot. And then kind of the other group that was in from before, and merging the 2 stories together to make a great game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So they showed some footage of predator hunting grounds. I thought that looked pretty interesting. It's another asymmetric gameplay where you have like 4 versus 1, so a 5-player game, just like they did with Friday the 13th, the Jason, and you have the people who are running away from Jason, the campers, and then you have Jason who's trying to kill them. And they did this with I can't remember the game now. It was this monster. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, you're this beast who has to evolve, and as you go to your 3rd form, you're unstoppable and you can destroy everyone. But then you have the team of 4 guys, and you can pick different classes and different types in your Fighting the Beast. So it's great. Every time you play, you might be that beast or you might be part of the group, and you get to switch it up. So it's a nice, refreshing way of playing a shooter. Right?
Yeah.
It kind of gives you a different aspect. So I saw the gameplay. Predator's pretty cool. You have the invisibility. You have this jump down, assassinate, kind of instant kill move. So a lot of cool Predator abilities, but then you see from the other guy's perspective looking in the tree, and just that same camo halo effect where you can kind of see the kind of glossy bubbly effects. So it's
not quite
if you're really
right,
looking,
but
you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
So the guy doesn't have all the advantage, but I'm it's interesting as a Predator fan. I'm sure people are in for that. But just another asymmetric game. Those games are always fun, especially if you have a great group of friends to play with.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we saw Erica, so that was a nice surprise. Shadow drop. So this game, if you haven't seen the trailer, I'd recommend you watch it. It's basically a movie that you interact with. So it's a video game. They've done this with video games where it's essentially an interactive story, but this is all shot as a film, as if you were going to the movies. There's no
live
CG,
action.
it's all live action.
Yeah.
And then there are prompts that happen that let you choose what the person's going to say or what they're going to do, or if there's an object to interact with, you can actually interact with it and move it to let the character see or not see what's going on. And based on your choices will affect the outcome of the character, essentially, in the story. It seems like there's a murder mystery going on. It's a thriller.
Yeah.
And yeah, depending on how you play your character, she could potentially make it out in the end. She might die in the movie, in the game. So I liked it. I've seen these games as games, and I've liked those games. Yeah. One comes to mind that was done by, it was a Sony first party. I can't think of it now. It was just done with the Androids. But basically, awesome game. I'm actually planning on playing it with my wife to let her experience it, because I love those style games, and this is an actual movie, so it kind of brings it to the next level of realism. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought eventually movies would go this way, like straight to video, have that interactive kind of DVD player way down the line. Mm-hmm. But I love to see this new type of game, someone thinking outside the box, having actual actors film a movie and have, you're essentially filming 2 movies or more, because each part that you have a choice, you have to do 2 outcomes. So you have to film 2 different things, and then depending on, what happens in those 2 things, it could split off into multiple scenes.
Now, if it's done right, that's how it should be. And I've seen some cases, the original Walking Dead game, and I can't remember the studio that makes all these story games. I was having a bad day today remembering the titles. But basically, the original Walking Dead interactive story game essentially was out for, I think it was PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously moved on to the current consoles. But there are choices that you make where you can choose if someone dies or someone lives. And depending on your choices, at the end, one person will be dead or one person will be lived. Your story will be a little different, but the end outcome doesn't change from like the main story. Like your main character is not going to die throughout the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't kill yourself, but I mean, not based on the choices that you make. When you get to the end, with the exception of maybe one or two characters being alive or dead, what happens to certain characters will be the same if it's like a main plot point, and if someone makes it out or if someone finds something, that's never going to change. So kind of makes your choices a little less serious, if that makes sense, right? Like less consequential.
Yeah.
But the ones that do it right, and again, this one that Sony did, and I'm drawing a blank on this one, but
it seems like this Erica one, the end will have a different outcome. Like I feel like the end, she'll either survive or she won't. I think you will have that, that option of, depending on what you chose earlier, that's how the ending will go.
Absolutely.
At least that's what I'm hoping. But it looked very interesting on the trailer. Something different, which is always great to see developers trying to think of a new type of game to catch people's attention and bring them in.
The game is called Detroit Beyond Human, and it's made by Quantic Dream. I don't know why I forgot that. I played a lot of their games, so it's weird. But yeah, so like those games, specifically Detroit Become Human, you have 3 different narratives going on, and they all eventually get intertwined for the ending. But like what happens in your story, like if you kill one of the characters because of your choices, they're not in the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Like there's 3 main characters, and if one person dies, that's going to affect the end goal of the story. So the actual end of the game, there's like 50 possible outcomes because of, again, you do this. Okay, in 5 of these outcomes, this character is going to live, but this person dies, or this person dies, or this person dies, and that changes how they behave in the next narrative, or certain things won't happen because of this person's death. So literally, each branch creates more branches, so that you have so many outcomes at the end, which I like, because then you either have to replay the game to see all the endings, and that's what I'm hoping. So I'm hoping Erica has that. She did mention, the actress came out and did mention that they did film a lot of scenes different ways, so she did feel like it was a long process, but she really enjoyed the experience. So that means to me that it's not going to be like you have 50 different options, but then the end result is still going to be the one end result. I think there's still going to be multiple endings, and we'll have to wait and see which one we get.
I think it will splinter off and have more and more depending on what you choose, which is great for a game. If you're going to spend that money,
you have playability.
Sometimes, right?
You bring
sometimes
you
play a game and that's it.
Perfect.
But you can bring different friends over. It's like, oh, let's do this time, or have different friends and see what they want to pick. Mm-hmm. And you're watching a different movie, I guess. Yeah. Each time you put it on.
Yeah. There weren't any other games that they were announced that I was interested in speaking. Oh, Everspace 2. So I haven't played Everspace 1, but it was a beautiful looking space exploration game. What seemed to be reminding me of the some other games that I played. That you go out, you explore. Fly through space, beautiful vistas and planets to see. But then it kicks in and boom, there's action. And it's like, oh, you're doing dogfights, you're fighting. And they said there's roguelike elements, meaning that you will die and then you'll have to respawn with a new ship. Yeah. You have to upgrade, change your ship, your weapons, whatever, and go out. And you're not just fighting. There's like, I guess, a story there. You're discovering, you're fighting new planets. So it looked very beautiful for that style of game. Yeah. I'm not a huge space person unless it's Star Wars. So, No Man's Sky was the game I was thinking about, which was a big, huge exploration game, lots of things to do. But while everything was randomly generated, there was a lot of sameness to it, where you always land, you're always harvesting these 5 core minerals. Yeah. They're going to get you gas, they're going to get you this, which helps you progress to the next area, and so on and so forth and so forth. And this literally looks like, oh, this is what people wanted No Man's Sky to be initially, which was you fly out, go wherever you want, upgrade your ship, and there are actual battles, and there's an actual story to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks interesting.
Everything else was kind of, just showing what is still coming, what they've announced already, just keeping it, up to date, still reminding people that these things are still coming out.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the other big piece of news that dropped was that Sony officially purchased Insomniac,
the creator of the Spider-Man game.
Yeah. And so while Insomniac has made a lot of games, like Ratchet and Clank, for example, which is a PlayStation exclusive, they were not ever owned by Sony. While they did make a lot of games for the Sony platform, they did make a game that was also on Xbox, which was that game that was like the almost like skater grinding rails game where you're shooting Sunset Overdrive. You're shooting, it looked like orange soda and stuff. There's zombies and whatever. It's a beautiful, colorful game. Yeah, and with the exception of that game, I think 85-90% of their games have all been on Sony platforms. So
it seemed like they had a great relationship with Sony.
Why aren't you owned by Sony? But I think this nailed it. The Spider-Man game broke so many records. They did a phenomenal job. I love the story. I love the game, the gameplay, everything about it. And obviously, we know for sure from the success they're working on a sequel.
Yeah.
And now this is not only was it exclusive, but now it's like their studio is not exclusive. So who knows what other games are going to crank out? Or they're just going to keep them making more Spider-Man or other Marvel properties. They could say you did Spider-Man, now we're going to do a Venom game, or you know what? Let's dive into Fantastic Four, whatever else you want to do.
I would love to see a Venom game. I'm not going to lie, but we'll have to see what Sony will do for that kind of Marvel Fantastic Four kind of thing with the relationship. We'll get into that in a different video, I think.
But yeah, that was very great. That was an interesting purchase. I think it was long overdue after Microsoft buying so many studios, and then again at last E3 buying so many, and then this E3, we bought Double Fine, and they have all more studios that they're acquiring because they want to get that first party exclusives up. So they have a better competition against Sony. And now Sony is like, well, they closed 3 studios, I think it was, over this past year and a half, 2 years. So it's like, why are you not acquiring? Why are you not expanding your portfolio? And it's like, well, this was an awesome decision. It's a long time coming. I don't know why it didn't happen sooner, but...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Microsoft is really going aggressive, and it's paying off. Mm-hmm. I think they're really going to do well with the next platform of consoles. Yep. I'm still up in the air about which one I'm going to look at first and purchase and go from there. But they are really getting out in front of PlayStation and showing their face and showing that they're aggressive and that they have the right game plan. Finally, they were lacking on all the exclusives, sales, all that stuff was way behind. So I think now they're realizing that what they need to do to step up their game, which is great.
I think it's really going to come down to this next E3 that's really going to determine. They're going to showcase the consoles. This is coming out in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. This next E3 is going to blow out. If they don't do it before in our own private Inside Xbox event, or I'm searching to see if they have it, PlayStation Experience, they didn't do it last year. If they do it this year, if they do PlayStation Experience this year, are they going to showcase their plans, right? Yeah. But essentially, next E3 is going to be the big console war episode. Every 5 years when they announce the new consoles, they always come out and do that big E3. Here's the new console. Here's what it's about. Here's all the specs. Here's all the games. Here's all the prices, and it's going to be huge. So I think at that moment, I will probably have a good idea of which one I'm going to want to get first. Yeah. I'm not a person who gets every console at launch. It's just too expensive. But eventually, I like to try to get each console for their exclusives. This last generation, my first and foremost priority was PlayStation over Xbox, but eventually got the Xbox One. And unless the first parties can show me otherwise, I'm definitely going to be getting a Sony for the next Spider-Man, for a new Uncharted game, for the next Horizon Zero Dawn. There's a lot of first parties that I'm excited for. So, but Xbox One X has it's been gnawing at me wanting to get that version of the Xbox. I didn't because I knew the new one was around the corner. Yeah. And I want an upgrade. And knowing how great Xbox One X runs and how well that they've done their system, I'm like, that Scarlet is really tempting, wanting me to make the jump. So it really comes down to see what's going to happen next E3.
I think Microsoft's looking ahead. I think the specs are going to be, if not identical, very close. Yeah. The price points are going to be the same or very close. I think Microsoft knows it's the exclusives that's going to sell the systems for them. It's what works for PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation 4. I didn't go with the Xbox One this year. I have an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. So I usually get all of them, but this year I didn't get the Xbox. Or this time I didn't get the Xbox. But I really am considering it. But it will be the exclusives that kind of sell it for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that, what do you think? Do you agree with us? Are you excited for any of the specific games shown at Gamescom? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear what games you're excited for. Did you disagree with any of our opinions on some of the games we discussed? What about our thoughts on Xbox? Again, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, if you'd like to support us, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love the support. like the video, and send us an email of any other topics or nerd culture items you'd like us to discuss. Looking for lots of options going forward.
Definitely.
So as always, friends, stay nerdy.